onto the inside arm, under the arm, leave a few inches, all the way over to the seat and leave a few inches there. To get the length, we just need to go to the back, allow 2-3 inches at the back, a couple of inches at the front. Again, nice and straight with the fabric. Pin at the bottom, one in the middle. Fabric nice and tight coming up. Not too tight, just tight enough to take out the excess fabric. And then pin along the top, like so. Fold the fabric back like so, looking for the bottom of the wing where the pin's out. Follow the pins down here to the bottom, and you can see there I popped in a little arrow. We need to come in, we need to work from this kind of angle, and we're going to cut into that arrow. So we're going to cut that way in, which will then release the fabric so we can get around this side without running short on fabric. If we cut from anywhere down here, we'd be short of fabric when we come around. So we've got to come from this angle at the back. In fact, when you get down here, you can cut into the wing, actually, into the front facing, 1/4 inch away. From the opposite side, tight into the bottom of the wing. You're going to be aiming for that end of that arrow. So I'm just at the bottom of this pin mark here, and now you'll see that we can nice and easily get around the corner with no kind of rippling of fabric or kind of puckering. We can get a nice smooth transition around the corner. So just make sure everything's nice and laying straight, and then simply pop a pin at the back and stick a pin down the bottom. And then again, on my chair, I can feel underneath, I can feel that ridge, so I'm just going to follow the ridge to the back. When you get to the back, just lay the fabric flat against the inside back, and then you're looking for the bottom of the wing, which is there. So as you can see, the bottom of the wing, back of the arm lined up all the way along to here. Now we'll continue down all the way to the bottom, following the same shape as the inside back, down to the bottom. Once you get down to the seat, cut away on an angle. So you're just going away on an angle like so, and then just check that you're happy with the shape. I'm just going to trim a little bit off at the bottom. So again, we'll be adding the seam plus seam along here, and then you can pop a notch there and a notch there, so we know when we sew the wing to the arm, we need to match these notches up. And now we can tuck away the inside arm, inside back, and the inside wing. Back to the front, we're just following that same shape where the facing meets the arm, nice and tight into that crevice. And again, we're just snipping as we go along, and then tighter, releases the fabric so we can get tighter into there. And I've just stopped just short of the edge of the facing, and we can pop another notch. So again, we know when we come to sew the arm to this facing and the wing, we need to match up this notch, which will duplicate onto the fabric. And then the outside of the arm, we'll sort the outside of the arm and the outside of the wing when we've finished the arm and the front face, and we'll then turn the chair and we'll start on the outside. So we just need a piece wide enough and long enough, allow a few inches at the top, a few inches either side. Making sure the fabric is nice and straight. Just pin that tightly into position. And then we're just going to pin up and around the arm. Try to keep the line nice and straight up and over the top. If you find on the arm, as you're pinning up and over, if you've got a lot of excess fabric here, then you might have to run a dart into the top of the arm here. Just pin a dart in, but as you can see on this chair, it's pinning over the top nicely. But don't worry, sometimes on some chairs the arms do kind of come straight and then they dip away slightly, and then that leaves you with excess fabric. So you've got to put a tuck or a dart, sometimes even two, depending on how severe that kind of loss of shape is. But this one's nice and flat, so we can take it up and over. So I've just pinned around to here. We'll just cut off the seam allowance around here, and then we'll finish the bottom of the arm, bottom of the facing, and then we'll go to the outside of the chair. So we just need to cut our seam allowance. Then we just want a notch on the top, a double notch on the front, and then a single notch at the bottom. Front of the arm, bottom of the facing, nice and tight into the crevice. Just cuts into the arm, stopping 1/4 of an inch away from the bottom of the facing. And then same thing, we're just marking that. It's nice and tight into the facing. And then just cut off the excess fabric. And as you can see, that's a nice clean finish. Again, we'll be adding the seams to the bottom. So along the seats, we don't have a tuck in at the front, so we can keep following that same line from the front facing, tight into the arm and the seat, tight down there, like so. So we follow the shape around and around here, down into the seat, and then that's where our tuck-in does start. So we can then, from there, we're going to draw a line And then same as the back, we added 3 inches to the back of the bottom of the inside back. So it's exactly the same. And then if you like to just double check, just check that the bottom of the inside back and the seat finish the same length. So I just need to trim off a fraction. So make sure inside back, inside arm finish the same length. And now we can tuck that away. Just plus seam where we've drawn around here. We're going to be adding a seam on the table, so you can just put a little marker, plus seam, and then we can tuck away. So onto the outside of the inside wing. Just finish bringing the fabric over, and nice and tight underneath there. Pin that into position. Same at the front, pulling it nice and tight underneath. So that's now pinned underneath there. As you can see, we do have a little bit of excess fabric on the top, but that's not a problem. What we'll do when we come to put the outside back on, all we will do is we will just put a pleat on the top when we join to the outside back. So for now we can ignore that, and we just need to carry on pinning over and underneath the wing. So we've pinned all the way over. We just need to cut off our seam allowances. And then finally, we just need to, underneath here, where the wing meets the outside wing, nice and tight into that, into that groove, that channel. Might be better using the marker pen on this, I think. So we can cut away on that marker. So I followed the shape down and then around the front of the wing here. So when we sew the cover together, we know that we're going to put Velcro underneath here. So it'll be a nice tight finish under here. So we can put plus seam, and then a narrow Velcro. And you can even put a few little markers. So I've just put a few markers on the fabric, so I know we need to add Velcro along here. Next piece, we'll put this outside wing on. Just make sure you've got a few inches at the front and a few inches at the back. So again, we're looking at the weave on the fabric. Try and get that weave running level. And then I'm just going to push the fabric up into that crevice again and just put the marker all the way along. I'm going to pop a notch just so we know to match up this piece to this piece when we're sewing them together. And then just pin down here. Nice and tight, pulling that front facing, losing the excess fabric on the front facing. So I'm just cutting into the bottom of where I've pinned. I'm going to match up to the facing. I'm just cutting into where the facing finishes. Again, 1/4 of an inch away from the fabric of the chair, like so. And then just cut off our seam allowance. Notch. And then this piece here will be pinning to the inside arm as we take that over. And then we'll finish off the bottom of the wing by going underneath the wing there, and we'll Velcro under here. So we'll go on to the inside arm now.